Kindness. We see it all around us. We see it when someone pays for someone else's coffee or holds the door open for another person. We see it in the smallest of gestures, like a smile or a kind word. But it's different when we turn on the news or social media. Oftentimes, what we hear about, what outlets are pushing, is the opposite of kind. Welcome to the Kindness Matters podcast. Our goal is to give you a place to relax, to revel in stories of people who have received or given kindness, a place to inspire and motivate each and every one of us to practice kindness every day. Hello and welcome to the Kindness Matters podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rathbun, and my guest today is a longtime, dear friend, Lisa Mitwally. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Well, thanks for having me, Mike.
And Lisa and I, we go back a ways. Okay. So my wife, Marty, and I started our cleaning business in 2006. And somewhere in, I want to say 2007 or 8, I think we saw a post online that there was going to be a kind of a networking event, a learning event for social media. And I thought, boy, we should go to that, for the business. And we did. And it was located at, you guys, the cutest restaurant in all of Minnesota, maybe the upper Midwest. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it was in St. Paul. And it was called the Q Kindness Cafe. And it was owned and operated by one Lisa Mitwally. That was such a great, is that where your connection to kindness started, Lisa?
Oh, actually, there's a little bit of history behind it, but that's where it really took off.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, we started the restaurant was actually called the Q for 50 years. It was the Q, and it was in the Medical Arts Building between Patzaloon and Sakura. And they gutted the Medical Arts Building and made condos.
Oh, really?
So when they did that, all of our local customers disappeared. And it was really, really sad. My husband had looked for a buyer, but he was grandfathered in to several things. And it would have cost somebody probably about $250,000 at least to get everything up to code. So for instance, the equipment was 2 inches off the ground. It needed to be 3 inches. And we had 3 floors. We could seat 132 people. So he asked me if I'd want to buy the restaurant, if I want to buy the other business partner out, and he would stay on. So that's what we did. And I said, well, what I'd really like to do is random acts of kindness. And I'd been talking about that for a while. And it just wasn't his thing. But I just ate it up. I just wanted to literally feed it to my customers. And so we did. And luckily we had a marketing person that was a regular customer of ours. And he came in and told us, you should just own it. Put kindness everywhere. So we did. We put kindness on the walls. What kind act will you do today? And then kind acts to do. We had a wheel of kindness. We had kindness quotes. We had random acts of things that you could do for other people. For instance, if somebody wanted to buy a brownie or a blueberry pancake or my favorite tuna melts or a mango smoothie, we would keep a list behind the counter of things that you could buy for other people that bought things for other people. And then the next customer that would come in, we would say, no cost for you. This was a random act of kindness.
So great. And the food there, and now your husband, Jimmy, was the chef, right?
Yep.
He was the cook and the chef. Those tuna melts were to die for.
I know they were.
They were awesome.
A lot of home cooking, lots of love poured into those. And that's kind of the secret to everything, you know, is just pour a lot of love into everything you do.
Yeah. And then after that first networking event, my wife and I decided to have other networking events with cleaners from around the Minneapolis, St. Paul metropolitan area. And where else were we going to go but to Q Kindness? I mean, it just seemed natural. And it was my all-time favorite place to go anytime I wanted to network or whatever. You were certainly not close, but you were worth the drive. But then all good things must come to an end, right?
Yeah. But the interesting thing, I'm going to do a little backstory here too, because it's interesting on how many people that have latched on to kindness as a purpose driven life, and how many people have latched on to wanting to be the change that they want to see in the world. So for a lot of the business owners that are listening, trust that there's a ton of kindness to be found. Trust that there's a lot of little cute kindness cafes that might not be named that, but are willing to open their doors to you for networking events and to host you, not to fear the fact that it's like, oh, I shouldn't do this, I couldn't do this. Reach out and ask, because you'd be so surprised at how many people really want to see other people succeed.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. And and that was the thing with your restaurant. First of all, we were able to bring together people who are in the same business as we were and share ideas and methods and tips and tricks. And really, people always used to say, well, what about the competition you're getting together with? There's no competition. There's plenty of business around. We're getting together with other people who do the same thing as we do, and we're sharing ideas, and that's kind, right? So, that was, I think I spun the wheel a few times on that over the years.
Yeah. Well, now we have a little spin-off of a version of the wheel. We invented kindness dice. So you can shake a dice, and actually there's several different numbers you can, well, any variety of numbers that you can land on, and then you have a kind act associated with the number.
Nice.
So anybody who has a dice can roll the dice and then just make up random things that you can do for kindness for that day.
And this all goes back to your next venture, if you will, or your next thing after the restaurant closed, and you decided to go. Is it a company? Is it just an organization? Kindness Travels.
It is a company. It's Better Life Productions is the company umbrella, and I knew the kindness wasn't supposed to stop when we closed the restaurant in 2012. So that's the end of that chapter. We had looked for a buyer that would want to take it, but like I said, they would have had to come up with about $250,000, if not more, just to get everything up to code, which was just silliness. So we just walked away, and that's okay. That's okay. We gave it a couple of years, and it just wasn't meant to be. And my husband really didn't want to be stuck to a brick and mortar business again.
Right.
So, yeah, we released that, and I knew it wasn't supposed to end there. So I started to collect stories. I was asking everybody, about their kind of stories. And I thought, well, maybe it's supposed to be a self-help book or things that happened at the restaurant. Because trust me, when you proclaim kindness as your mission, you are attracting amazing people with amazing things that they're doing in the world. And it just gets you high. And you think, wow, I want to share that with everybody. Because having this as a purpose. And so many people are frustrated by feeling like they don't know what their purpose is in life. That maybe they're a doctor, maybe they're a dentist, maybe they're a housekeeper, maybe they're whatever. It doesn't really matter. If you feel frustrated on like, well, maybe this isn't my purpose. Maybe I'm supposed to be, a pilot, or maybe I'm supposed to be, an engineer. You know what? Maybe you're supposed to be kind. Maybe that's the purpose. And no matter what you're doing, if kindness is your motivating, leader, if that's leading you forward, then everything else falls into place. You do what makes you happy. Be the best cleaner that you can be. Be the best person that works in, laundry or gardener. It's amazing that the tasks that we do in life to make money, but if it makes you happy,
exactly,
that's all that really matters. And if you're giving back through kindness, then wow, what a cool purpose. So I was collecting these stories from people doing amazing things, and it just wasn't coming together. The book wasn't coming together. I had so many notes, but it just wasn't resonating at a higher level. And one day it came to me in a dream. It was supposed to be a children's book. Yep. The whole book. I did not know that. Yep. It came to me in a dream, and I woke up and I wrote it all down. And of course, edited it probably for a good year, if not two. It's just crazy how your first draft is never the one that you stick with. You write maybe 20, 30, 40 different drafts until you get to the one that that
And as you're writing it, it all sounds great until you go back and reread it.
I did work with as a writer for Delta Airlines. Actually, this whole time I've been working with Delta Airlines as a flight attendant purser. Now I mostly do the international trips, so I get to connect with more amazing people.
Kindness all over the world.
Yeah, really, right? And leading by example more than anything. I think that harvesting curiosity. It's not so much what I say; it's more what I do. But
Right.
the book did come to me in a dream, and I wrote it, and with a ton of help from my friends and people that just came out of the woodwork that became friends. A big angel project. It is a gorgeous book. Another flight attendant who is now a full-time illustrator, and does the most beautiful work I've ever seen. It illustrated my book. Yeah.
Oh, that's Cindy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cindy Jackson.
I love her work in that.
Love her work. So yeah, so it came to me in a dream, and then and it really is a labor of love and a gift of love. I don't intend to make it as a business, even though I have to copyright things and do the business stuff.
Yeah.
But people can take it and run with it. Everything is at the website kindnesstravels.com. That's the most important thing to know, is the kindnesstravels.com, where you're going to find the book. You're going to find an ebook now. You're going to find videos in Italian, Spanish, Arabic, British English, my English, and it's me reading the book or me flipping the pages and having my nieces in different languages read in that language. They interpret, and
Oh,
I'm
wow.
flipping the pages, so you can literally read along in that language.
Wow. That's
It's
so cool.
really,
Now, was it your intention for the book to be aimed specifically at kids?
yes and no, because I really do believe that kids are going to teach their parents, and the
Yes.
parents might read to their kids, and they start to learn about it, and light bulbs go on. So it's amazing on how we learn by teaching, and when those parents are teaching their kids, they in turn are internalizing it.
Yes.
And then the kids can teach other kids. So I always ask in the book, there's different games and there's different tools that the teachers can use. They can read about kindness, and it doesn't have to be my book. It can be any book. But yeah, ideally, if they want to have a really
Sure.
pretty colorful book, it's mine. But anyways, so it's read about kindness, talk about it in the classroom, and then have the kids do one kind act in 24 hours. And there's a whole slew of ideas for them to do.
Oh,
Simple
yeah.
things, like leave a kind note in a library book, or maybe hold the door open for somebody, or write a note of thanks, or return a cart at the grocery store, or draw pictures for a friend, or call a relative to say hello. They're just super simple things. But then they do a kind act 24 hours, and then they come and write about how it made them feel. And then they repeat it.
Oh,
So now kindness travels. So that last step is the key one. Now they repeat all those steps that I just told you about. They repeat it by teaching another child, or ideally 10 other children. Think about that. One teaches 10,
whoa.
10 teaches 10, 10, 100 teach 10, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million. Keep adding the zeros.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Simple.
Because and kindness kind of ripples anyway, right? Whenever we do a kind act. But yeah, that's so cool. So where did you come up with the name for the character? Penny.
Oh, so penny is a symbol, that one penny can lead to millions. Literally, it all starts with a penny. So kindness travels like pennies multiply. You might not think you're making a difference to one person, but those pennies add up to dollars, $10, thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and people can relate to, find a penny, pick it up, pal, day long, have good luck, or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. My wife still does it. Marty does that. She'll find a penny in the parking lot. Oh,
Well, and I think when we learn to respect our money, it multiplies.
yes.
So oftentimes, even if it is something as simple as penny, I always pick it up. I respect that. And it's amazing on how, again, one simple kind act can lead to many. And oftentimes when people know that you're collecting pennies, they'll throw in dimes, quarters, dollars, $10 bills. They want to help you
Yeah.
with your vision. So if you have a vision of bettering the world, just trust people will help you. They will come out of the woodwork to help you, but you can't expect it.
Absolutely.
But it does
Yeah,
help.
no. Yeah, and I've talked about this over several shows about, the people who use social media to, um, they post videos of themselves giving people money and that's great, but I I don't like performative kindness. Now here I am putting rules on kindness, right? Well, you can only be kind if you do it this way, but yeah, and that kind of ties in with what we were just talking about.
Yeah, you don't expect it, but oftentimes I know everybody's got their path in life, and everybody's got their unique way of doing it. And if it means that that's the way they're going to be able to support their life, then you know what? Cool. That's cool. It might not be my thing, or your thing, but you know what? Kindness will still travel. And I learn from them. And so actually I kind of like the videos.
You kind of like the what?
I kind of like the videos. I think, oh, that's a good idea. Huh.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. I like it because it inspires.
Right. Right.
And just like you just said, right? You watch a video and maybe the person's intentions were awesome, maybe they weren't, but you could be inspired by that and genuinely go out and reach somebody else. And that's awesome. And I was just looking over the website, and the link will be in the show notes. So no worries about that. I highly encourage anybody who's listening to go to the show notes and go to that link and go to kindnesstravels.com. I love the games. You've got the Be the Change game and then the Penny Pocket Challenge. I like that one a lot.
I love the penny pocket challenge, and I'm sure it wasn't my idea. It's just one of those things where you latch onto it and you think, oh, that's really super easy. Just to put 3 pennies in your pocket, in your left pocket, and with every kind act that you've done for the day, you transfer the penny to your right pocket. And it's interesting to say too that kindness is different than being nice. You know what? We are all
Right.
have a tendency to be nice. Kindness is mindful. It's really putting thought into it. Leaving a note, like I said, or secretly treating someone. Or even
Yeah.
spending time in nature and being mindful about that. Getting some energy from what's put before us. I whatever your spiritual belief is, I think that's like my nature is like God's place for me. But yeah, giving away the bigger piece, that's a big one, because a
Giving
lot of
away the
people
what?
the bigger piece. So when you have a piece of cake, or if you have a sandwich that's really inviting, and there's one that's a little bit better than the other one, a lot of times people have a tendency when they're little or even adults is to take the bigger piece.
I
And
need to work on that one, I think.
that's a kind act. You know what? And if you need it's meant to be. But that's literally, so it's not just being nice that you always do that, but because so sometimes kindness is to self, where it's like, you know what? I need to treat myself today, so I'm going to take the bigger piece. So a kind act might be is to consciously say, I'm going to treat this person to the nicer piece.
Yeah,
And that
absolutely.
just feels good. That just feels really, really good.
It does. And that's the great thing about kindness, right? Because it's a happiness multiplier.
Yeah.
Because
Scientifically proven.
huh?
Scientifically proven.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, because obviously you feel good doing the kindness for somebody. They feel good. They feel great that you did it. And then it has that ripple effect, doesn't it? Because somebody saw you and they're like, "Hey, I can do something like that." But that's kind of what you were talking about, right?
Yeah. And one of my favorite ones, I don't know where this came from, but I thought, oh, that's a good one. I like I like that. And a lot of times the person that deserves it the least often needs it the most. So if you come across maybe an ornery person, you think, I'm going to do a random act of kindness. It might be like I don't know, at the cashier at a store that you might be disgruntled or something. And I might ask them, you know what, I'm looking for a candy bar for a friend and I'm not really sure what kind are good. And they'll tell me their favorite kind. It's like, oh, peanut M&Ms. Those are my favorite. And it's like, oh, great, thanks. And then I'll buy the peanut M&Ms and then I'll give them to them.
No, and they didn't see that coming, did
They
they?
did not see that coming, and I just get so excited. But I leave right away. It's like I don't engage them at all. I just let it go. And ideally, if there's somebody that is within earshot that might have heard that,
Right.
then that's a good idea. Or my other favorite one is because I love like a Boston cream donut, but my waist doesn't like a Boston cream donut. So if I'm by like Dunkin' Donuts and I really am craving that, I might go in and pay for it. And I say, don't give me the donut. But the next person that comes in that orders a Boston cream donut, tell them it's a random act of kindness. So don't
Yeah.
tell them my race or my color, anything that could indicate, putting me in a category. Because really, kindness is from everywhere.
Have you ever stuck around to watch
No.
the next person? Really? I would think that would be so
Oh,
satisfying.
yeah, yeah. But it's even better. Your imagination is even better,
I
because
suppose, yeah,
that'll
sure.
carry me through for I don't even know how long.
I was talking to a woman on an earlier podcast, and she was her and another woman started an organization called Bucks County Kind out of Bucks County, Pennsylvania, Doylestown area. And she said she got the idea when she went to a bagel shop and she bought herself a bagel, obviously, and her kids were with her. And then just on a whim, it just struck her. She said, I want to buy in one. Have you got a pickup order? And they did. They had a pickup order. And she said, I'd like to pay for that. And then she went into the shop and she sat down with her kids and they waited and they saw that person come in and the cashier said, that lady paid for it. And she wasn't doing it for the recognition, but the person who got it was so appreciative and so thankful and so happy that she got it. And she was very, I don't remember, expressive about her thanks for that. And she said, and I didn't do it for that reason, but she said, my kids saw that. And that was, I thought, a good way to teach my kids about kindness. And they were littler. They were like, 3 and 7 or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, and that kind of goes along with your book, although your book is speaking directly to the kids, but, teaching our kids how to be kind or that it's a good thing to be kind
Yeah,
is
yeah,
so important.
yeah.
But
Uh,
you must
yeah.
have the best stories in your
I'll think
travel
about
because you travel all over the world. Does
Yeah,
kindness
yeah.
vary from continent to continent or country to country? It's always the same, is it?
Well, human nature is pretty much the same. And actually, we used to have an interfaith dialogue group at the restaurant where people
Oh,
were coming from all faiths. And it was interesting in how we would use the conversation cafe method. So it's conversationcafe.org is just a simple way to host a meeting where everybody has a voice and you do rounds. And it's interesting on how at the end of it, there was a common thread every single time, no matter what we spoke about at all religions that just wove around and we all felt pretty much the same thing. We all answered the question in the same way, maybe coming at it from a different angle. But
sure.
again, kindness to self and kindness to others, other, religions and colors, and yeah, this whole diversity of kindness is everywhere. It's pretty much the same around the world.
Yeah, and I've often thought about that because that phrase that we know, um, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
That that feeling, that sentiment, that phrase is almost exactly echoed in every religion in the world. And yet sometimes we forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a little phrase on my fridge that I latch onto. It says, I will always look for the best in you. Because when I look for the best in you, I'm going to find it.
Sure.
Look for the worst in you, I'm going to find that too. And in fact, one day it dawned on me when I was looking, because I wrote the whole note for my husband. I was like, I'll always look for the best in you. And I hope that he, also just always looks for the best in me. And then when I was reading it, I thought, oh, I really kind of need to look for the best in myself too.
Because if you're being kind, you got to be kind to yourself too.
Oh, huge. And I think most people will look for look for their flaws. And it's like, we all have that little chatter in our head. And of course, if we look for it, we're going to find it.
Sure.
So that's a huge kindness to yourself. I mean, that's really, really important. You can't just be kind to the world without being kind to yourself. That's everything. And that kind of goes back to leading with purpose. Saying, wow, you know what? I woke up today and I'm grateful. Keeping a gratitude list, in your mind, or even going to bed at night. If some people have insomnia, I start making a list of things that I'm grateful for throughout the day. And all of a sudden, next thing I'm in sleep, and I've just set myself up for a very peaceful sleep because I'm in the mode of being grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. Keeping an eye. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was so kind of you.
Oh,
You are. I gauge how well I'm doing by measuring myself with you, because you have.
oh.
I mean, I aspire to be you.
Oh,
well, not all of you, but
you
know what I mean.
Trying to say that, but I think the same about you, Mike. You are. Yeah, it's amazing on how when we look at one another, people become a reflection of ourselves.
Oh,
we attract exactly what we seek. Like, so they say, what you seek seeks you.
Okay, is that is that like the law of attraction?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Very much. And even, there was just one little quick story if we have time.
Yeah, I think we do.
At the restaurant, there was a life-changing experience that happened in my eyes. And I had a customer come in and he decided to buy the whole hockey team breakfast. Mm-hmm. And he said, do you think, I think it was like $300, and blew me out of the water. I was like, what, it was busy.
Right. Yeah.
You want to do what? I know I've heard people buying a person a meal, which is super cool, but all the meals. Anyways, I later came to find out that that's what they do in retirement. They go around the world as philanthropists and do random acts of kindness. And I thought, I want to be just like that, but maybe not in a $300 way right away. Maybe someday.
You got to wait till retirement.
Yeah, but I can do $1. I can do $5. Yeah. It's probably the best investment. That's better than any movie, better than any treat that I could maybe treat myself to. When I'm doing a random act of kindness monetarily, whoa, that's entertainment for me.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's yeah, I agree. I love that. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up now. I wish I could probably do a whole other show and just listen to you tell stories of kindness from your restaurant. And that would be an awesome way to spend an afternoon. Yeah. But instead, I will let you go. Are you off to somewhere fun next? You always have so much fun wherever you end up.
I do. I think that's part of living. You have to find. It's every day is not all roses and sunshine.
Oh, sure.
But it's
you always find.
Yeah. I'll find the joy because I look for it. Again, kind of finding the best in myself. I'm going to find the best of the day. And if that means just hanging out and chilling all day in bed, then so be it. It's usually not the case.
Yeah, no, usually not.
You have energy to spare.
Give you a bike and you're a happy gal.
Give me a bike and I'm a happy person. Exactly. But I would encourage teachers, usually Montessori schools, private schools, those are probably the easiest to take the ball and run with it. I did have a Catholic school at K-8. They just took it and ran with it. They even made their own shirts, Kindness Travels. They asked for my approval if they could just design their own. I said, of course. I copyright the stuff so other people can't take it and put me out of it. But by all means, if somebody wants to run with the idea, I would ask if they could circle me in so I could celebrate with them. I am not needed to do what they need to do with any of my stuff. I'm happy to come and speak voluntarily. I don't charge a fee to consult. If people want to call me, they can. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here to assist.
That's fantastic. And you're going to be all over. There'll be links all over my show notes to you. And yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate you. I respect you. And you have a good week.
You have a good week yourself. Thank you so much, Mike. Kindness really does matter.
Yes, it does. Every single time I talk to Lisa Mitwally, I come away feeling energized and inspired to be more kind. And you know what? I hope that you, dear listener, feel the same. I absolutely love this episode, and I hope that you come away with some ideas and some hints and tips and tricks of your own. And we will be back at it again next week. But until then, remember to be that person who roots for others, who tells a stranger that they look amazing, and encourages others to believe in themselves and their dreams. Thank you for the gift of your time today. You have been listening to the Kindness Matters podcast, and I am your host, Mike Rathbun. Have a fantastic week.